What's up, guys? It is Jonathan with One Big Impact. So as I'm starting to get all the equipment together, by the way, that's Elijah, my son.
What's up, guys?
And I don't think anybody's ever been in my videos before. Very few people. But really quick, I wanted to do a quick kind of overview and review and kind of my own personal opinion of this specific squat rack. So this is the Fitness Reality commercial grade squat rack. I'll put a link in the description below to get your own. Okay, so this is going to be the version that has the lat pull down and then the seated cable row as well. Now, first of all, I'd like to talk about price point. If you're looking for a squat rack that is capable of like heavier loads, most of you guys, including myself, probably will never take this to full capacity. I think the weight capacity is 1,000 or 1,500 pounds, and it's just not going to ever be probably needed to be using that. Once you get up to those weights, you probably be using a monolift and you're completely obsessed with powerlifting at that point. So, for the average gym goer, I would say it's probably perfectly fine. I would say, I think the height is right around 6-7 feet tall. All the specifications are going to be in the description below. I don't have super high clearance of ceilings, but I'm having no issues whatsoever with it. As far as putting it together, it took a little while, but I will say thank you to Fitness Reality, because what they did was when you get the packages of nuts and bolts and stuff like that, and you're looking simultaneously at the instructions, it can be really overwhelming, especially when it comes from China or something like that. It's really hard a lot of the times on these IKEA, some assembly required stuff, and it's difficult to be able to put it together. What they did was they synced it up, so in the instruction book it said step 1, you go to the bolts and it says step 1. Step 2 in the instructions is step 2 in the bolts. And they're like set in different little categories, which actually made the work literally 100 times easier, which was really nice. It didn't completely line up. There was a couple things that were a little bit of an issue, but if they hadn't done that and it was like M1275, like what the hell does that even mean? Like it's really difficult sometimes to understand that. So first of all, I would like to say plenty of squat rack depth. If you're like looking at like half racks and stuff like that, they're gonna be right here. I'm a bigger guy, a half rack's just not gonna cut it. I would be having to squat outside of it, and at that point, if I was squatting outside of it, in my own personal opinion, there would be no point in getting a squat rack. I would just use squat stands, and it would be a hell of a lot cheaper and take up a hell of a lot less room. So the full squat rack works really well for me. It comes with J-hooks, regular old J-hooks, and then you have a little bit longer pegs for the outside. Maybe you want to do some shoulder pressing or anything like that. You can do bench on the inside. Something key that I noticed, especially for my clients and that I like personally, is the numbered levels. So when somebody comes in, if they're at level 6, I know to put them into level 6 every time. I don't have to remember or try to eyeball each side. And vice versa, if you're on one side, you go put that one on a 21, your client can put it on a 21 or whatever. The pull-up bar does have a wide grip and also a narrow grip, and then you have pull-ups on the inside as well on a couple different things for chin-ups. The cool thing about that is, specifically, if you look at it a little bit closer, right here, you do have knurling, and it's not super aggressive, but it does give something for your hand to kind of put in there a little bit. So not as aggressive as something like this, which is more closely related to like a barbell, which, to be honest, I like more. But if you are not able to do pull-ups or anything like that, you're probably going to be using bands anyway, and I'll put a link in the description below to a set of bands, because I think don't get discouraged if you can't do pull-ups. Just start with some assisted pull-ups, which will work great. By the way, this version is in the description below, and it helps me massively if you buy it through my description, so thank you in advance. The lateral pull down right here, it's a plate-loaded pull-down, and I'll be honest, I was pretty skeptical about this because I've always used like cable pulleys that are going to be like the pin locks and stuff like that. I would say I was very, very concerned that it wouldn't glide as good. Now it comes with silicone, little tube of silicone and everything, 2-inch hole adapters and everything, so you can use 1-inch plates if anybody still has those. During this process, actually, during this fitness reality, oh my gosh, really, Elijah? Close the door if you're going to talk on the phone. Fuck, man, my bad. So, during the whole pandemic and stuff like that, you're actually going to maybe have 1-pound plates or something like that. And if you do, that's fine. But I was worried about the gliding of the system, if it was actually going to be properly adjusted to, you know, does the weights actually work well on the plate loaded system? And believe it or not, actually, I was quite impressed with the smoothness of this versus a regular plate loaded. So actually, I like the contraction a lot better. Right there, believe it or not, I'm actually feeling that, and I've never felt those before on a regular lat pull down. At the bottom, it does have a seated row, and I'd like to show you really quick what that looks like at the bottom. So right here, and you put like a V-hook, and I'll show you that V-hook right here, and you sit down on the floor and you put your feet in there and you can pull that way. You could also use this as like a bicep curl. You could use the one up here, add the extra chain, and do tricep extensions. There's all kinds of variations that you could do with this. Now, in addition, I was kind of worried about the tricep dip addition because it does have these little holes here, as you can see. But the reason I was worried about that is because I deal with a wide variety of clients. You know, I deal with people that are 500 pounds, people that are 100 pounds or 80 pounds or whatever. So a lot of the times, the dip variations are actually set for the standard size person, or they roll 1 inch. So you really don't get other variations. You're not actually able to get a different angle. So that kind of sucks sometimes. But the cool thing about this one actually is you can actually go as narrow as you want. And there's like, if you can see on this side here, there's all these different pins. So you can go inch by inch, which is really cool. Now there is, so I can go super narrow. Specifically, I have one client that needs it really, really narrow, which works really good for dips. And also a little tip, if you're doing dips and you're not very good at those, you can use a pull-up band, same sense. You put it right here, you put it down low, put your knees on there, and then you can do assisted dips, which is really good for people that are starting out. If you want to get better at push-ups or bench press or anything like that. The next thing that I noticed is it has some holes, okay? So I want to start doing a lot of stuff with like bands and things like that. And a lot of the times, squat racks, now it's getting more popular and you're seeing things with like band pegs and stuff, but it's kind of like an upgraded thing. Now, I did look on the website and I didn't see anything where they sold band pegs or anything. But if you look here, I have some holes here and holes here that are not anything to do with anything. Now that could obviously be an additional attachment that is something besides band pegs or something like that. But for me, when I'm looking at it, I look at it from the perspective of getting a long bolt, throwing on some clear spacers, and being able to use a V-shaped band here for working on the negatives on a squat rack. Now, in the same perspective, at the bottom of this, there's actually more holes you have 1, 2, 3 holes, and then there's a couple more, I think, on the end where you could actually put some band pegs at the bottom, working on like resistance for bench, or you could do some glute ham raises, obviously work the opposite side of the squat, which is great. Now, talking about price point for what it's worth, honestly, I'm 99.9% in love with this thing. For a lot of different reasons, probably previously stated. There's a couple things that I don't like about it, and I'll talk about those. And one of them actually has nothing to do with the squat rack. So I have a few specialty bars. One is which is on there right now. This is the Titan Fitness safety squat bar. Works good for people that have shoulder mobility issues, or people that just don't want to put their shoulders back there all the time. It really helps. But the important thing is that you remember, because of the way the squat rack is set up, it does slightly give a little bit of a jog to the racking process, which in all honesty makes me a little nervous. See this, how it doesn't fit all the way in there and it turns the J-hook. Obviously there's enough meat on the backside to where it's not going to be an issue. This one sits flat or vice versa. And the same thing happens when I use like the Duffalo or the Bison bar, this bent cambered bar here. And it just makes me a little bit nervous. That has nothing to do with the squat rack, because squat racks are not designed for people that are using specialty bars necessarily. And specialty bars are exactly that. They're specialty. And they have nothing to do with regular lifting necessarily. It kind of takes it to a new era, and they're very new as far as the industry is concerned. As far as how widespread they are now. You know, you can get a safety squat bar. I got that one for 250 bucks. So they are very common now in this day and age. Now, the other thing, and this is the only thing that has to do with the squat rack, and it completely could be just operator error. So when I get the squat rack and I have to put the safeties in place, it's frustrating because I have no clue how the hell they go on, okay? I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Sometimes they go on like magic, sometimes they don't. And this could be just a learning curve, and I could be doing it wrong, maybe I need to read directions, whatever, but I'll be completely honest with you right now. I have no clue how that just went on so easy. I think that's what I need to do, is be from the inside versus the outside. I think I may have just figured it out, actually. You gotta be on the inside of it. Okay. Okay, let me try that again. Okay. Alright, well, I'm trying a bunch of different heights to see if I'm just tripping, and it's working just fine on every one. Okay, so the key to that, apparently I just figured it out. To put the safeties on, be on the inside of the squat rack. Apparently that's, for some reason, makes a difference. Now that could just be because I'm left-handed, I don't know, but now they're going on just fine. And I sat there for like 10 minutes the other day, floating around in the air trying to figure it out. 1 to 10 ratio as far as like how good would I say it is compared to other squat racks that I used. Now in the gym you're gonna see like brands like Life Fitness or Torque or something like that. If you're not trying to spend like $5,000 on a squat rack, which if you're not the person that is like sponsored and you're not squatting 1,000 pounds, stop spending stupid money on stuff. You can literally spend a couple $100 on a squat rack or squat stands to get started. And I would say this would be the evolution later. When you want to kick it up and you want a squat rack that probably is going to last you forever, and you're probably not ever going to have to replace it unless you want like some weird option. It doesn't have west side spacing, like, but that's going to be like, very minimal of you guys are going to be needing that. And you can do different things. You can use little blocks and stuff like that. Most people don't even know what their sticking points are. I'm not saying that's going to be all of you guys, but if you are a power lifter, maybe you could get a different rack or something like that. You could go with rope. But this same rack with a different company is going to cost you 3 times the price. It's a great rack. I have had no issues with it whatsoever so far, other than putting these racks on, and apparently I just figured that out right now. 1 to 10, how good is it? I would say, from a trainer's perspective, probably, I'd say probably now, I would say a 10, because I would say a 9 before, because these things were the only things that were bothering me, and this really is not an issue unless I'm using the safety squat bar or the buffalo bar, and honestly that's an issue with my bench. It's an issue wherever you use those. They conform to your body, but they don't conform to the machines, which is actually why specialty bars are so freaking great, because specialty bars are great for your body, and machines are built for the average person, whatever the hell that might be. So, if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section below. I think I covered everything. I may forget some things, but I hope I did. If you guys like our video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Have a beautiful day. Be stronger than the excuses. Tell Elijah to stay the hell off the phone while I'm on a video. Have a good day, guys.